Tonight on our show, we're going to break open South Africa and all the stuff that's not happening and other fun things. Content pending the show. It's a thing that's been on my mind. It's
Yeah.
Are we talking about that? It's a little column A, a little column B, right? Like,
of course, yeah.
It's not.
But it's not genocide, column A or column B.
No, it has not
Right.
reached levels of. Never mind. We'll talk
Yeah,
about it. Sorry.
Welcome to Content Pending the Show with Travis and Dylan. I'm Travis.
I'm Dylan.
Our podcast takes place at Austin, Texas, at Don's Depot, one of the best bars in the entire world that you haven't been yet. You should go immediately. Just stop listening to this or put it in your car and just start driving to Texas.
Yeah. Just don't move here.
Just don't move here.
Yeah.
It's a podcast that takes place in Austin. Like I said, we like to talk about the things that happen over the week with interesting people and have a drink. And we have some drinks in front of us. Let's go ahead and start this off by saying, Adam McWaters.
Hi.
Good to see you, buddy.
I'm Adam.
What's going on?
Nothing. Just, stuff.
Yeah, stuff. What kind of stuff?
Oh, like we played that horrible game of Gloomhaven.
Oh, yeah, that was tough.
We did not do that right.
No, we didn't. Next time, though.
Yeah, we learned. Live and learn.
Next time, I'll actually look at the rules. And
Live and learn, boys
not
and
make
girls.
it too impossible.
Yeah.
So, Adam,
Yes.
Beard and Luck Dragon.
Uh-huh.
I've been thinking about trying to come up with just things to ask people that have been on the show. I mean, you've been on the show before, but
A couple times.
on Drunkcast, we had the three rules that we'd ask for people who were on the first time.
Yeah.
And I think about just like any time, just asking like a series of 3 rules and trying to build
I
on
thought
them.
about this question all week. Glad you're here.
Yeah. What's a thing that you wish you were better at?
Ooh. Let me count the ways.
Most recently, what is a thing that you wish you were better at?
Probably figuring out the particular code base that I have to work in.
Okay.
I hate it. I'm terrible at it.
At your current job, you
At
mean?
the current job,
Okay.
yes.
And can you talk about that job?
Not really. Well,
Okay.
I mean, I can. It's not much to talk about. It's just it was built X number of years ago, and it's a mess, and I've always hated it. That particular library, that framework, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's always been terrible to me, and it's still terrible to me.
Yeah.
And I wish I were better at that so that I could feel like I make any level of progress on a day-to-day basis.
Sure.
That would be rad.
Okay.
That or basketball. I'm
Okay.
fucking terrible at basketball.
You've been bad at basketball for a while.
all of my wiles. It's my antithesis.
Uh-huh.
That's the one thing.
Basketball is the thing that takes you down. So
Oh,
if you and I ever feud,
It's the Adam's kryptonite is basketball.
Yeah,
Just
I can
challenge you to a
Challenge you to a game of horse.
yeah.
Yeah, you win.
Right.
I'm just going home.
H. Okay. All right. Okay. Good to know.
Go ahead, take the kidney. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're ever wondering what my actual secret weakness is, it's basketball.
It's basketball.
I can do all of the things that are involved in basketball, but for some reason
Just
putting it
not
together
all
just
these.
escapes me.
Just runs it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, it's fucking shameful.
I used to be pretty good at basketball, but I had my parents gave me a thing. They were like every. I was really bad at basketball for a while, and my dad said every time you make a basket, every time you make a point or whatever, a goal, he'd give me $5. I was a fat little kid, and man, I was chugging, and I was doing the best I fucking can. Like I got $10 out of 6 games.
That big gulp soda ain't going to buy itself.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. I could be able to beat any of the arcade games, but with nothing.
Yeah.
Did you ever play basketball, Dylan? What sports did you play in high school?
Baseball was my
Baseball?
jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soccer and some swimming, and then mostly baseball.
You strike me as a person who's probably a power hitter.
I was
Yeah,
actually
they would go down deep in the field or whatever.
actually, I was more of I was referred to as the Wade Boggs of Little League.
Carpet world.
No, I always got on base.
Is there a plaque of you in the hometown square?
Well, Fort Pierce is a small city in Florida back then. So.
Okay,
Right.
so you're saying it's okay.
So it's perfectly reasonable to have a plaque of you there as a child being called the Wade Boggs of Little League.
Like a local bar,
At
maybe.
least at the Popeyes restaurant that sponsored my team. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Which is unfortunately not a joke. Yeah.
Do you hate Popeyes or just like
No,
embarrassed?
we were sponsored by Popeyes.
Was it a point of pride because Popeyes are like after they finally like franchised? Then
Okay.
Popeyes was the first like franchise to
You're
open
asking me to
there?
open a lot of cans of worms, and I'm happy to spill,
Sure.
but
Wait,
Yum,
11
yum,
minutes.
worms.
but we got to dial in certain aspects of the can, basically.
Okay.
Or which can we want to draw from, or yeah. The Popeye. So this was true. Baseball was much work. I was actually pretty good at it for a little while. But yeah. So this was Fort Pierce, Florida, and we had a small little league. It only had like 8 teams on it. It wasn't a very big city.
Sure.
But all the teams were sponsored by some restaurant in town, or some whatever. But yeah, we were Popeyes.
we
were
Popeyes.
And we had both.
Oh, that tickles me so
We had
much.
both the best uniforms and the worst team at the same time. So we had the like
Style boys.
pretty much, yeah.
For life.
So at the time, like everyone else in this league, it was basically like white pants, and then the color would be different for each team, like green or red or blue, whatever for
Sure.
that team. We did not have that. We had like this full on like yellow and brown bumblebee outfits that were like head
Okay.
to toe, including the stirrups because it was old school
Of course,
baseball.
of course, yeah. In the 1820s.
Yeah, we just looked like beekeepers. it was really disturbing actually, but yeah.
Wow.
But we had like 3 people who could play and 9 people who couldn't.
Okay.
Well, apparently, so it's small town. Fort Pierce only had maybe 40,000 people back then, if that. But Little League was not very big. So like I said, there were 8
That's
teams.
why they call it Little League.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about height, size. there were only 8 teams, so 8 teams had about 12, 15 players per team. It was that was it. It was pretty lean.
Yeah.
That's a cheap.
But apparently,
after. Yeah.
in that Little League, Popeyes had been like a very successful franchise for a couple of years, to the point where whoever was running Little League got really pissed off and said that Popeyes could no longer have first round draft picks.
Really?
Wow. Oh, they got muscled out.
So-
by the council, by the city
we
council.
we ended up with like the worst like. So at the time there was a baseball in Florida it was I'm sure it still is pretty big. Like even like you're 10 to like 15 years old, you actually like go to like an open tryout to figure out what team you belong to.
Sure.
There'd be some parts
it's like
of
the Sorting Hat.
it was it was open field tryouts. Yeah, like you had to go and compete for like 3 days and like do combine kind of stuff. And Popeyes, for a reason I guess, had pissed off enough parents that they were forced to choose last for like 3 years straight because they'd won too many times before.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And I played 2 of those years where they
Last best.
well, basically like me and then one other person. We had 3 people who were actually pretty good players, and I am pretty sure I only got on because I was new to that community. No one knew who I was, so they just saw me play one day. Go, is he good or not? We
Right.
don't know.
Right.
He's new here. You can have him.
Define good.
Sure.
I was a good player. I was all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just small town politics in Little League sports. It's a hell of a combination in America, man. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Especially fast food politics.
Florida is mostly baseball. Texas obviously is football.
Football, yeah.
Kentucky is basketball. That's where I was kind of segueing around. So
Yep.
I didn't really play basketball, but my stepdad was from Kentucky
Okay.
and lived and breathed basketball.
Really?
Oh yeah, and he even played for Eastern Kentucky University when he went there. So he was.
Was he any good?
Yeah, he was all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was a
He was the
point.
Wade Boggs of...
He was a point guard, so
Okay, okay.
he could always hit baskets. Basically,
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it was also that was 60s.
Thanks, autism.
That was 60s, 70s basketball. Very different. You weren't trying to dunk all the time.
No, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So a 5'9" guy could actually get the ball and make some points.
It was far more tactical, is what
Right.
you're saying.
Little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little different game. So he loved basketball, and I did not care for basketball very much. And kind of like you, Adam, basketball and I don't really get along very well.
Yeah.
Even though I have all the skills to hit a baseball, throwing something into a hoop, different animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can throw stuff through a hoop, and that could actually be fun. It's just
sure, like a Dave and
Alone.
Buster's or something. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
like,
yeah, that's,
by
that's,
itself.
That's what's
that
got me too. Like,
concept.
Yeah.
I did not like the idea of like full contact sport in a court. Like, put me on a football field, sure,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
but why are we doing this indoors? This is just weird and sweaty.
Just smells funny.
That's funny.
So there were at the time also like new stepdad, 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid. Like, you're not my father. Kind of weird dynamic.
Yeah.
I like basketball. Basketball sucks dick.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
then moving to Kentucky, where it was all basketball all the goddamn
All the
time,
time, yeah.
always.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell anyone that basketball sucks dick.
Oh, I managed to get out of it.
Not without getting an entire Baptist church after you
All at once.
all at once.
Yeah.
Basketball was mandatory. when
I'm
we went to-
stopping the sermon here.
So I
Get
had,
'em, boys.
yeah, I had to go to PE class, and basketball was mandatory in PE. Like that was basically all you
Yeah.
played. Like,
yeah, I remember that.
like to the point I'm like, can we just like run laps instead? I mean, can I do any other sports?
Please?
But we played basketball constantly. Like, it actually got so bad. Like there were one or two guys like who were like minded. Like, we don't really want to sweat and play basketball inside, especially when we have to go back to class in an hour. Like,
Have
this
you heard
is-
of Nintendo?
No, so we actually played chess during PE.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Because I managed to convince someone else, like, no, this is a physical, logical puzzle that if I strategize,
It's a sport.
strategy is incorporated with sport.
Right.
I've seen your book, Coach. I
I
know
know
you
wear
know
the special
this.
uniform is really for chess too.
Yeah,
like,
and then that was my sophomore year, my first year in Kentucky going high school. Then like we actually had to play baseball, literally the last month of school. So after playing basketball or chess in PE for like 8 or 9 months, we go, oh, we're doing some baseball. I'm like, cool, finally. We go to the baseball thing, and I'm like hitting balls, doing really well, and they're like, oh shit, you can actually play ball. I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
Done this one.
yeah, I can.
Yeah. Get the Baptist church off my fucking neck and I'll play some fucking baseball for you.
But yeah, so basketball.
I didn't have any success in any sports, but I did play a lot, like t-ball, didn't like Little League, which is always boring for me.
No, I used to love baseball. I was a huge baseball fan.
I really like soccer, like a lot.
I played. That was my first sport, actually.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
my first sport was baseball because my dad was old school from New York. Was like, "You're gonna play baseball with the Yankees, son."
Of course. Yeah.
I think I left my old glove I saved for you in this old Folgers can.
Actually, true story. I actually did use my stepfather's baseball glove for all of my little league career.
Okay. Yeah.
Did
I
it come
still
from
have
an
it.
old Folgers can?
It looks like it, yeah. But I still have it. Actually, so.
That's romantic as fuck.
Well, we use all the coffee.
it was a great glove.
Right. What was at the bottom was actually a prize. It wasn't hid there. It was just like back then. It was like these huge tubs.
They put prizes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I played a lot of soccer though, because I moved to Florida and I was really, really little. In Florida, there's huge, Cuban, Haitian,
Swaths of-
Dominican, just that influence of
and ancient people.
Yeah.
soccer. So I played
Yeah.
soccer when I was like 7 till the time I was 12.
Soccer's nice.
I
Soccer's
enjoyed
fun.
it. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's so hard to watch.
I
I don't want to watch it.
actually
so
I had a really
Right. No sport do I want to watch really.
Mhm.
But unless I'm live at the games.
I like watching football.
I love playing all of those games though.
Yeah.
Love it.
we
Yep.
Baseball is only fun if you're actually at the stadium.
Oh yeah.
That's because you have beer.
You're loaded in hot dogs and
Yeah.
beers, yeah.
But playing is a very different thing.
I was never good at soccer, but I knew a lot of people that were, and I always enjoyed like the idea of it. And
Yeah.
watching it doesn't actually bother me as much as, well, correction. I haven't watched a lot of it, but I did spend like 4 of the World Cup games watching over voice chat on a Discord that I hang out on.
Sure.
And we'd all just watch the game together, except for the one Scottish guy who was for some reason always 2 minutes ahead of everybody else, and he would just ruin everything for us,
Sure.
which was great.
Yeah, you ruined that one goal the whole game.
Right.
It was pretty good. I don't know. I had fun. I had fun watching it, and like it was less like weirdo crybaby tactics because it was the World Cup.
Right. Yeah.
I think watching any given regular
He
game,
sneezed on me.
yeah,
With the-
My,
yeah, the-
my head,
throat.
yeah.
Yeah,
and that shit annoys me.
I
It's
agree.
embarrassing.
I enjoyed watching the World Cup games in the same manner that I enjoy coming here to watch the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could give a shit.
Yeah, of course,
Like,
yeah.
It's like I do not care, but that's a really fun time.
Yeah, because ostensibly they're the best, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why, like, for baseball, I don't really watch baseball because watching baseball is probably the least fun thing to do in sport,
Oh my god, it's so
except
boring.
for possibly golf. They both kind of come really, really close.
Right, but the difference is golf has zero capacity to ever become exciting. So it's just wall to wall. You know what to expect.
I appreciate it.
Zero is not accurate, but it's very close.
But yeah, I like that argument because like, you're watching baseball. Like, there's always the possibility something might happen.
Yeah, there's a chance this one might be good.
So it's constant failure. Like,
Right,
over
right.
and over again.
Because in golf, you're fighting against the other person who's about to go before or after you. In baseball, there's not going to be like a tree that shows up and bounces it out of the fucking into the woods or something.
right.
You
Well,
know?
although granted, if that were the case, you'd have a different game,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
But back to the point, like as far as the, I watched the World Series and I watched Super Bowl, obviously,
Yeah, of course.
World Cup, because you weeded out all the bullshit. It's the best of whatever teams you're playing.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
and yeah.
Again, ostensively.
I have noticed in
So,
soccer,
that's more fun.
specifically,
Yeah.
the definition of what is best has changed from Conan to now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like, people win on just like bullshit technicality exclusively, and they're
Really?
like, "Oh, they've won every game," and it's just go fuck yourself, dude.
Go fuck
Come
yourself,
on.
dude.
Glad I don't watch that sport.
Boring. Boring.
Oh, perfect time. Let's take a break and then come back after the bye-bye. His wife was calling him because their marriage is broken. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Hey,
Segment 2 of Content Pending.
you're still here.
Still hanging out with me. Still hanging out with you. Out of the corner. Still hanging out with...
The Sports Dome.
Welcome to the Sports Dome. Let's
Now-
talk about South Africa.
That was the best show.
It
Yeah.
really fucking was.
For the record, I can talk all the shit that I want about sports, and I will for the rest of my days. But without all of that shit, Sports Dome wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
And that was magical.
It was magical.
The Onion Sports Dome. Is that? Can you watch that anywhere? I'm sure YouTube.
It's on YouTube,
maybe.
yeah. Really low quality stuff, unfortunately.
It was only on for what? Maybe not a year, barely.
Less
I
than
thought
that,
they got.
maybe?
I thought like they got a season out of the
I can't
first
remember.
one, maybe two. I thought there was a big gap, and then I think they brought it back for a little bit, and then
Maybe.
it died again.
But
And this is the perfect time for it to come back.
Oh sure.
But
I mean,
for
we need
those-
it now more than ever.
unfamiliar, the Onion. The Onion is
Yeah.
obviously the Onion. They had their version of sports of an ESPN hyper sports. Well,
Yeah.
the Sports Dome.
The Sports
Yeah.
Dome.
It was magnificent.
It was magnificent, and it was on Comedy Central.
Comedy Central,
right?
yeah.
And it's just a shame that it didn't get picked up for more because it really was just so intensely sports, and it was like one of the few things that I actually watch of sports that's not actually watching a game go
Right.
on while again if I'm live. And it's such a bummer because like it made it so funny. Even characters that I barely knew, they would make these jokes that actually made sense. I mean, the Onion's always been good about that.
Yeah.
Like it was like Shaquille O'Neal terrified after finding out after reading what a Phoenix Sun is. And the way it's written is just like not to his level of education, but like literally just the basis of the impending doom that he's expecting to be when he joins this new team or whatever. Like, and it's just wonderful that they can treat it with such a like a white glove,
Yeah.
you know, and say like, hey, you're gonna come with me real quick, and we're gonna tell you a story about something you really don't care about.
Yeah, but it's a white
Of course
glove.
you're gonna love it.
Like managed, like held
Yeah.
by utter disregard. Like
Yeah, of course.
you don't have to know anything about sports to enjoy Sports Dome, because I fucking don't. I don't know any of these people.
All
I don't
you
know
need to
any,
know-
any of the history. I don't. There's probably inside jokes that I'm never going to get, but it didn't matter.
Right.
Everything else was still a joke, and
Right.
it was
It was also the perfect caricature of all the sports
Every version of it.
talk.
All of it, yeah.
yeah.
Of all those people, all those shows.
Especially like the one guy who was like one of the commentators like was in love, like obsessively in love with that one girl. Like it was like, you remember that there was
I don't
like
recall that,
it was a
no.
side story. So it was like he had the two dudes who were like, Sports Dome, welcome to Sports Dome, pack up and we're going to sports or whatever. And then there was a girl who was like the extra person who was like giving stats, and the guy with glasses was always just like really creepy towards her.
Yeah.
Because like he lost his wife. And it actually reminds me of and I need to watch through it again, but there was it was the Onion. Onion did this great series about a guy who was just trying to, it was a food travel vlog thing through the Onion. And the whole conceit was that he was going to travel the world and he was going to try out all these diners and dives and all this shit. And every time he was on his way or even at a place to try to eat some food, his wife was calling him because their marriage is broken. And like, so he was like trying to handle that in the background and trying to do it. And like
trying to do this show.
Between the breaks, I'm going to show you at least one of them because it is masterstroke. And I don't know how the Onion can do it so fucking perfectly. But I cannot tell you a single Onion article that I've ever read in my life where I said, you missed the mark on this. Like, they always do it fucking perfectly somehow.
You read that thing about just like the Onion's day to day. Like, you're in a room full like the editors and whatnot, and like I
met a person who
you have to
it,
read all these ideas that you had like the day before, and if nobody laughs, that idea doesn't get in.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make at least one person laugh at just a headline that you made up.
Yeah, you come up with a headline, no story yet, headline, and it's literally just like, and they're all competitive, like all writers' rooms are really.
That's awesome.
But this is even more because it's like fake journalists trying to produce BuzzFeed like level.
Well, that's
shit.
why they made Clickhole.
Yeah, that's why they made Clickhole
to feed that niche.
The extra shit, but even that has to be by some kind of committee because all that shit rules too.
Yeah,
like
but
Jesus.
It's just that's the thing. I think that incredibly excruciatingly difficult process just to get even an idea to become a story is how it gets curated like naturally.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of like veteran comedy writers and people who are really, really funny. They are not impressed with you, and you better impress them.
My only
Black
pushback.
man stands in front of America, asks for change.
Yeah.
My only pushback on that is I followed the Onion on Instagram, and I actually had to unfollow them because they were super spammy.
Oh yeah, of course.
To the point where it was obsessive, and like, I don't need to have 47 posts from you an hour.
I respect that. Yeah,
it was too much.
Yeah,
it was too much.
I respect that.
It actually made me dislike them because they were so aggressive with trying to be.
Yeah,
we're social media.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but that's. I mean,
but it wasn't the quality of the post. It was just the too much of it, the quantity of the post. Right?
The frequency and quantity, I think, impacted my view of whether or not the quality was different or not.
Yeah, I get that.
So I can't say one way if they were doing funny things or not because I got so pissed off always seeing something that was like, stop.
Right.
Put one or two so I go to your website and read the rest. Don't put everything you publish into your Instagram feed.
Sure.
Especially when, Clickhole and Onion, they put out dozens and dozens of things a day. I don't need to see all of them in one feed. Get me to come to you.
Yeah.
But I wonder if
Patriot
that's
Hole too, and Patriot Hole turned into. Did you see the other one? That's not
that was good.
Yeah,
Patriot Hole's funny, but there's another one that it's the opposite of Patriot Hole, where it's like the liberal tank or whatever. I don't know what it's called.
Oh,
I'll look it up or whatever.
I did
but
see
like
it,
all of their jokes are, take that, Republicans. Donald Trump just tweeted that he had to go to the bathroom. Like that was a huge win for all the liberals or whatever. Like. And that was really funny because it was like at least a little different kind of content or whatever. But
I kind of wonder if
Rachel Maddow really takes him down.
Right.
I kind of wonder if that's kind of like that's part of like. I mean, the reason why they did Clickhole was to essentially mock and mimic the clickbait, like listicle shit and all that crap. And they do it really, really well, and they do it like on a similar timeline, if not even more frenetic.
Yeah, here it is.
And
Resistance Hole. When they go low, we go viral.
Your burgers.
One quick break. Yeah, but Resistance Hole was really interesting because of things like this. Excuse me, Mr. Trump, sir, but respectfully, Dr. Trump, mind you, Captain President, sir, and there's nothing you ... can do about it, good professor. And it's just so they're making fun of so Patriot Hole was making fun of the super machismo, huge, crazy, I have blood in my veins kind of shit with the liberals are kind of pussies, really, when we come down to it. But it all still just nails. It nails so fucking hard, and it makes me mad.
They're
They can do so well.
infuriating.
Yeah.
Fucking people.
Don't be mad. Just enjoy it.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Something I'll never do. Resistance win. When one of our students wore a MAGA hat to class, this incredible teacher stopped having sex with him after school.
Take that.
Take that, Trump. Dr. Trump, Mr. Trump, Professor Trump.
Good professor.
Yeah, good professor.
The proof right here.
And it makes me sad because it's so hard. It's so hard for, and I think we talked about it on the show before. There are so many people who tried to just capture that kind of lightning, and a lot of them just do like the most basic kind of concept of what you'd call satire when it's really just lies. You know,
Yeah.
like the Onion one should never be caught as a liar. They're not liars. It's actually satire.
No,
Like, in this one thing specifically,
Anybody citing
liberal
this should
teacher,
be shamed.
liberal teacher sees kid with MAGA hat. Liberal teacher is having sex with kid.
Yeah.
Her hatred for Trump will keep her from continually to rape that child.
To do this terrible thing that she's been doing,
Yeah,
like, and was
yeah.
fine with before a hat came into play. Like,
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
right.
And that's a bunch of layers.
It's pointing
you know?
out, yeah, it's the cynicism of
Right.
of satire. It's just
yeah, exactly, yeah.
constantly.
And then I'll see some sites that are something very simple like Obama shot someone or something. It's like that's not satire. That's not really anything. That's
Yeah.
just lying. That's like making up a thing for hits, for clicks, and that's not fun. And then you have the hard times, and you have Seductress, and then you have like some people who actually come out and actually do really fucking interesting stuff. And Ella Gale, who's been on our show before, Ella Gale writes for some of these people and
Yeah.
writes some fucking excellent fucking material. And it just takes the right minds for it. But no, a good editor, committee, you know,
Yeah,
it's all important.
man, they do a good job.
Good times.
Let's take a break so we can eat, and we'll come back with more show. Bye bye.
Served in a 48-ounce big gulp mug.
Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Oh, hi.
It's segment 3. We're still hanging out at Don's Depot in Austin, Texas.
The Porkin' 3.
The Porkin' 3. Yeah. Forced a gentleman here to watch Porkin'. Was it Porkin' Across America?
Sure.
Yeah. Porkin' Across
It
America.
is
Yeah.
indeed porking across America.
The Onion. Like they just. And it's sad because
Go check it out.
previously we were talking about the idea of them using Instagram too much.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because those kinds of segments definitely get overshadowed by just like clickhole content,
Yeah.
which is kind of ironic. You know, whole purpose of clickhole was supposed to be that hey, please click here and do a thing. But like, I don't know if any ads in clickhole like it keeps us from Working Across America or Sports Dome.
Wait, that
Motherfucking sports.
only has 120,000 views in 6 years? Jesus.
Isn't that nuts? Yeah. And Ben Hellman keep me into this because it's like literally up his fucking alley. You know?
Well, yeah, like I was saying when we were watching it, if anyone out there watches any of those kind of travelogue shows of any kind, but
Yeah.
food-related,
Yeah.
antiquing, whatever, like they completely nailed the format.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
with the music, with the graphics, the
Yeah.
everything about it, like
Yeah.
just editing of
The
a
calls to action, the
Right.
montages, yeah.
But it's like I say,
perfect.
they nail 100% of the details of that style of show.
Yeah.
And the punchline's been front and center the entire time. Like they're not hiding anything, and yet it's still
really refreshing somehow.
yeah. But it's to watch them deteriorate, I guess, in a way, or watch just like
That's also a good example of what we were talking about with Sports Dome as far as that being like the perfect caricature of that genre. Like, yeah, watching the Porking Across America, perfect caricature of
absolutely
man versus food or whatever,
Yeah.
like or Guy Fieri's chicken jalapeno poppers, Doppelopoulos or whatever,
Dives, Diners, and Dashing,
Yeah.
and Dragons, and whatever.
and dyed tips.
Oh, poor Guy Fieri.
and then slow roasted in the anus of a dying bald eagle.
Yeah.
To kick it up a notch.
Yeah. Covered in cheese and shamed into fruition.
Then deep fried,
I thought-
served in a 48-ounce big gulp mug.
I'm going to go back and read those menus again because best thing about that weird joke is that I don't remember almost 100% of it.
That was the Guy Fieri's American Grill or whatever, but like
Yeah,
the people bought the domain name.
The domain name was available for one day, and someone took that domain name long enough to make a brand new menu for what his deep American Grill would be, and it's so wonderful. But like,
that's a one day like inspiration.
Yeah.
Like that is an explosion.
yeah,
There's a universe got born in that guy's head.
right,
Right?
It was a taste explosion.
yeah, pork all day.
Good time.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking
Now I
of good
kinda wanna-
times,
I kind of want to just take a RV on the road and eat pork now.
of course,
sure. I mean, who doesn't really though? Like that's not. It's not exactly news.
That's a plan for us for a while.
Yeah.
Like, get out and do all the barbecues. Get all the barbecues out of the way.
Yeah.
Enjoy it all.
Finally ends this war.
Yeah.
Well, Texas will win.
I think so too. We have a friend from the Carolinas, North Carolina, right?
The northerly Carolina. Yes.
And he and I were, back when we were chatting online, I had the conversation about like difference between barbecue in North Carolina, Carolinas in general, and Texas. And he's like, look at this. And it's like a Wikipedia page. And like, this is all the stuff that's related to blah, blah, blah. It was like part of the barbecue Wikipedia page. Like, check out how big this is. And I was like, oh, you just scroll down and see Texas has its own fucking page.
Yeah.
Because it
has
does
its
your
own-
shit well. It does our shit well. It does all of it. you
Yeah.
know?
We get it.
Yeah.
You are a big enough barbecue scene to have your own subsection of barbecue.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? So are we.
You have the pulled pork sandwich. Congratulations.
Right.
We give those away for free sometimes.
Yeah, with your brisket. Yeah.
when you fill your tank at the gas station.
Yeah. That's true.
They thank you for choosing Chevron and give you a pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah, you get a pulled pork sandwich in the Ruby's restaurant.
Rudy's.
Rudy's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In the Rudy's gas station, because they're always attached to a gas station.
Yeah.
That's just like if you don't have time for real food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pulled pork thing.
You ran to there's a dude in there and he has a lever.
The attendant.
And like as you leave, you just ching and a hatch opens and there's a sandwich all wrapped
Yeah.
up for you.
You spent
take,
$10. Here you go.
take that home.
Speaking of gatekeeping.
Mm.
No,
Speaking of gatekeeping, heard you've been thinking about South Africa.
no. Well, I am. What a strange thing that's happening. But no, I was just going to bring up. Gatekeeping as a concept is really interesting to me,
It is.
and it's
In what capacity?
so it's specifically because it's not. I think it's only kind of recent that we put it in our kind of cultural understanding of what gatekeeping actually means.
Yeah, I'm lost in your
So-
where you're going with that.
So gatekeeping. Okay, so just for the sake of definition, right? So gatekeeping is when you say, "Oh no, music of today sucks. If you don't like something with two guitars, then you're not listening to real music." And that's like an acceptable form of gatekeeping, but it's still very much like a.
Right.
Well, it's not music. You just don't like it. Or like when someone says, "Well, no, you've never actually had sex unless you've had this kind of sex." Like, why? It's us trying to browbeat people down to a point so you can be better at it, you know. But I see it in the craziest of ways.
It goes. It is a pervasive, I think. I mean, somewhat natural human concept, like societally speaking.
Yeah, to protect your tribe against another tribe.
So
because
it's like that one lady that got a bunch of shit for getting cast as Batwoman
oh yeah, and the DC thing. Oh yeah,
for being like not gay enough.
right.
The people saying
Yeah.
that she was not gay enough, that's a shining example of like a societal level of gatekeeping.
Yeah, okay.
And the internet is fucking full of it.
Full of it, and some of it makes sense. Like I personally don't. One of the most famous versions of the pop culture versions of gatekeeping was why did the girl who played Bridget Jones? Why didn't they just get a fat actress instead of getting someone to just gain weight? Did it have to be a star in order for that movie that no one fucking knew anything about, to actually do a thing?
Well, according to the people who make movies, that does help.
It must have, you know.
Yeah.
But then we see remakes of things, and they have no name guys, and it's like, oh, wow, the story's really good, and it's actually interesting, you know.
Yeah.
They've rebooted Spider-Man a bunch of times, and they got a no name guy from a different fucking country to nail it
Yeah.
because of this. But now that's on my own version of gatekeeping, saying like, well, if you like the first Spider-Man, then you're a piece of shit.
Or
Yeah.
I've never heard this concept. I understand what you're saying. I've never heard that term before.
Right.
But like, so in the Spider-Man concept, would that be like, well, why couldn't they get an American actor to play an American?
Well, it'd be you're not actually Spider-Man unless you grew up in Brooklyn.
Okay.
You know,
That's what they're
why I
doing with
wanted-
the Batwoman thing. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
sure,
like,
you might be.
Jared Leto got shit for like not being trans
in Texas, yeah,
Right.
Dallas
Dallas Fires.
yeah.
But whereas I look at it going, that's an actor making a very bold choice to play something that's not himself.
Absolutely.
That's
which is kind of what actors
acting.
do.
That's what they do for a living.
Yeah.
And somewhere between that is a relevant conversation of, well, there are people who are like we have. What was the Netflix TV show that the Wachowski sisters did about the people who had kind of powers that were related to each other? Remember?
Yeah.
But they had a trans actress who was playing a trans character, and it was like they exist. Now they're not Jared Leto style like star power,
Right.
and that's the reason why that's literally the reason why Scarlett Johansson gets all these roles where she's like a Japanese woman, or what was the
Yeah.
last thing that she got shut down from because the internet was like, just please stop it.
Yeah, it was the
It was
Ghost in the Shell, right?
No,
That was the movie that was successfully made, but there was
Yeah.
another one that came up where she was going to play.
she was going to portray a famous trans
Mm.
man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening anymore.
And I saw one recently. I guess there was a reboot of a terrible show from the 60s, Ironside, a lawyer in a wheelchair,
Sure.
where they hired a guy who was not in a wheelchair
Good
to do the
God.
role.
And see, that's too much.
No. Because the character, the way the character story goes, and this happened in the original. The original take place in the 60s. Half of the character stories take place before he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean it's too much. Like they don't. You don't literally have to get people who don't have working legs in order to do that, right? To
Yes,
portray
yeah.
that thing specifically, especially when there's flashbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
You actually have to have the person be able to walk around without like spending a bunch on CG, and sometimes that's just a business decision.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just fucking
Right.
calm your nuts, you know.
And granted, like there are, well, there's a number of bad decisions in the case of the on the topic of gatekeeping. In the case of
Yeah.
the Ghost in the Shell movie, primarily that decision needed not happen. Like that didn't need to be a movie.
Right.
And
Yeah. Start there.
it already was,
Not
and it's
gatekeeping,
still
it's just-
excellent. The whole adding on like the dog pile of like because they got Scarlett Johansson to play. It's like
Right.
I get it.
Right.
That's probably a bad move, but it was a bad move to begin with. Like
right.
the point is, they wanted people to come see it that probably didn't know about Ghost in the Shell before.
Of course. Yeah.
And what are you going to do? The best way to do that when you're making a movie is you get a big name actor.
Yeah. Of course, it's star power. That's what I mentioned
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
So let me ask you. Let me
Just
ask,
like Jared Leto in Dallas Buyers Club.
let me posit this: is the concept, the general concept of gatekeeping, restricted or primarily focused on entertainment projects, or is this like just a general?
it can be
It's anything that you
Radiohead fans.
Well, what's grinding your gears on this topic? I guess is where I'm.
Oh no! I saw one that I thought was really funny.
Oh, okay. Okay.
People who say that it's not real barbecue. Who's
If it's
about
not from Texas,
Oh.
yeah.
If no, it's not real barbecue. If there's not sand in your food, and if you're not on a beach somewhere.
Well, that's no.
Right.
yeah, that's
Most
been
of America does not have a
object-
beach anywhere near it. So,
And so they consider
you're
the-
wrong.
So you have the food that you're producing is long smoked to fall off the bone, but that's not barbecue. They're saying
Well, yeah.
this is just meat that's been cooked. Or this is not a barbecue. A proper barbecue has to take place someplace where there's a barbecue in the middle of nowhere, right next to a beach, and there has to be water nearby.
Right. You have to,
And your food has to be sandy.
You have to dig a hole.
You have to dig a hole, like the Hawaiian
To make this
style
happen.
Barbecued
Yeah.
pork, but even then, I don't think they
Well-
call it barbecued pork. I think they call it like
Pork.
they call it pork.
Yeah. But
And they pour
They-
coconut
They have their own
oil on it.
gatekeeping. You know?
but it's like
Right.
Texas has its own as well. There was a dude in England who runs a restaurant. He does barbecue like inspired stuff, and he spent a lot of time in Texas
Yeah.
and learned stuff. And he's like, look, if you're making ribs and you try to finish them on the grill, you'll get shot in Texas. It is absolutely, but that's Texas gatekeeping of the whole concept. It has to be
Yeah.
smoked the entire way through,
Yep.
start to finish, the end for 16 fucking hours or whatever it takes. But
Right.
you never, ever use a grill on it. You never do the direct
You never
heat
go to
thing.
the direct heat. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
but that's gatekeeping on the Texas side of
Chicago has
how
the
to
same
do
thing with
stuff.
hot dogs.
Chicago has the same thing
No
with hot
ketchup
dogs.
on a hot dog. That is
Yeah.
like
Well,
against the law in
Well,
Chicago because
ketchup is disgusting. We all agree.
Well,
with
it
that.
is.
Yeah.
But also, like when you're eating food and it's a hot dog, it's not like when you walk into a place.
Well, food's a weird place for me because, like,
Humans have problems with food in general.
yeah, and recipes are recipes for a reason. That's like the intent of how you make that one idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get that.
I get it if someone says, if you're making Texas style, you can't do it a different way. That way, it's not Texas style anymore. Like Chicago style, you put ketchup on it. It's not it's not a Chicago hot dog anymore. Now it's
Right now, it's
now
just
it's
a,
a New
now
York
just a
hot dog.
But I feel like that part of it is like, all right, you're respecting a tradition, and then at some point you respect the tradition so much that you've forgotten what the tradition really was, and you're just being a dick.
And now you refuse to branch out in any capacity or be open-minded
Right.
to any other concept.
Like,
Yes.
if someone hates
Yeah.
a steak so much because they always get it well done, it's because they're missing what's good about a steak when the fibers and the muscles have actually like congealed at 124 degrees perfectly, and then whatever you do after that is just for texture, you know?
Yeah.
But the muscle has to come to a certain point, and this has to happen at a certain point. But if you don't like that, okay, well, don't spend $200 on a fucking steak. You know,
Right.
if you're,
Or
getting
you-
if you're getting a hot dog somewhere and you want to put ketchup on it, like We're all
spend your $250 and just eat it with whatever the fuck you want.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, because it's
Or
like low trash stuff.
You
know?
open a fancy restaurant where we break the norms here.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is a Chicago, New York fusion dog.
Oh, yeah.
It has
Yeah.
the taste of a ballpark
Yeah.
with the style of a food cart.
Banh mi, Detroit pizza, or whatever.
Great.
Right.
Italy rolls their eyes
It's
collectively.
Des Moines style pizza.
I am disgusted, and
Yeah.
I want you to go home.
You're done here.
Or you were just
Well, yeah, it's-
a Philistine and you refuse to accept change.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It's my culinary vision, you fucker.
What's most fascinating about the gatekeeping concept is how literally everyone is like guilty of it in some degree.
Absolutely, yeah.
And have been all their lives without even realizing it. But
Yeah.
it's like it's the no true Scotsman thing. It's
Yep, no
it's
true Scotsman.
any given religion.
Yeah.
Like you have somebody there who's just like, well, you're not that because you don't do the way that I do.
Because you danced once.
Yeah, because you danced once.
Yeah.
We're Baptists.
You wear underwear with your kilt.
Yeah.
No
Well,
true
actually,
Scotsman does that.
That's
Or
technically
opposite,
that's
whatever.
a skirt. Yeah. There's rules.
Right, there's rules.
Those rules are written down though. There is
Right,
that. Like
right.
there is gatekeeping to
To the tradition, but it's also
Well,
like
but
if
there's
you like
also
a thing, who gives a shit?
there's the gatekeeping that works to a degree, where it's like, hey, doing this thing is objectively wrong and against the law. That is gatekeeping
Well,
to a larger degree, but there are things you can't get away with.
okay.
And that's a good thing because that thing sucks and nobody likes it.
Okay. Yeah.
For example.
yeah, technically yes. That
Murdering children on purpose. Sounds fun, but people don't like it.
What
you know?
but what if your purpose is your religious expression of?
what if they just can't handle the snakes? You know.
Yeah.
What if I'm just trying to,
What if God says they may
Their
die?
faith wasn't strong enough.
I'm just trying to get that adrenochrome for Hillary.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just harvesting.
You gotta smoke it out of them. Everyone knows
She won't
this.
give me the last half of my payment for that bumper sticker I designed for her.
Oh, that's
I'm
it.
with her.
Another-
I told her I was with her.
I saw another version of the gatekeeping thing, specifically when it comes to
Cute
moms. That if you had a cesarean, you're not a real mom.
Oh yeah, see bullshit like that.
That's like
that.
that's infuriating because
That is absolutely infuriating.
Yeah.
the gatekeeping we really see more often than not in dudes who talk to girls who kind of like gaming, who say, "Oh, or the one big joke."
Oh yeah, gaming's a
Oh, you
huge
love
one.
you love Prince? Name 3 of his albums. You know, like that's gatekeeping. you
Yeah.
know? And it's kind of gross, but it's also
Only 3?
right. See,
Be gone from me.
that's where it
noob.
starts, though, because it's like
Yeah, but that's
you have a certain kind of energy, you have a certain kind of information. You're like, "Are you part of my clan?" Turns
Okay.
into, "You're never going to be part of my
right.
clan." It's like,
it's a root of tribalism.
Yeah, it's
in
tribalism,
a
yeah,
way.
yeah.
In
No,
all
we're
of its
definitely
various forms.
deeply awash with that right now
Oh, yeah.
in
Ah, well,
America.
yeah.
So.
I mean, we always have been. And everywhere is. It's
Yeah,
It's just
but
crazy now,
Right
though,
now,
I
I think we're just at a fever pitch of
Yeah.
tribalism. So,
yeah. You don't like Big Bang Theory? It's because you're not smart enough.
or
You
because
just
you
don't
have
get it.
taste and realize it's a terrible show. And
what you listen to other things other than Radiohead.
Right.
how dare you?
What, you listen to Radiohead?
Yeah, exactly. It goes.
Name
it's
3 of their
constant.
albums.
It goes all their
Yeah.
ways.
No one can. Not even Radiohead.
Oh, I forgot.
Well,
Yeah.
to their degree, I mean,
Actually, name 3 of their albums after 2000. No one can.
and we're out of time. We'll be back after this, but babe.
Are they like in a race to the bottom with Hulu?
Welcome back to the show, everybody.
We're experts, guys.
We've been doing it for 60 years.
We're waiting for the red light.
Yeah.
So, got some shots in front of us. Anything that happened this week that you guys wanted to cover at all? I can say I watched the movie Tag, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I wanted to see that. Yeah.
It's on.
The Ed Helms jam.
Yeah, you know, and
So you're the only person who actually liked that movie, apparently.
Andrew did too. It was
I haven't seen it, just based on
I
reviews.
thought it looked
It's
stupid and fun.
It got shat up on pretty hard.
I guess I can get that. It is goofy.
All right.
And it's like, I mean, it opens on Ed Helms, who has.
Well, you already lost me because Ed Helms is
Well,
terrible.
yeah, I understand. Yeah. But Ed Helms is like he's sitting in a basement somewhere and he's going to get a job as a janitor. He's like talking to the person across from him, looking at his resume and saying like, "Wait, so you have you have a doctorate in veterinary law, and you actually have your own practice, and you want to work here. And he's like, well, you got to follow your bucket list, man. It's like, your bucket list is being a janitor. He's like, let's do it, you know. So he gets a job, and the next thing you see, he has a mustache on, and John Hamm is walking past him, and John Hamm's about to be interviewed by the Wall Street Journal, and he comes in, kind of cleans some stuff up, and just traps him and then tags him. So he got the job. He literally got a job specifically so he could
Play
do a
tag,
thing.
yeah.
And so that's fun. And so each time they go to the next character, it's something that kind of fun and kind of silly. But when they get to fucking Renters,
Yeah.
when they get to
Hawkeye.
when they get to fucking Hawkeye, it's like the Sherlock movie with Robert Downey Jr., where he hears them come and his internal monologue's like, all right, Remy's coming from over the left. I'm just going to employ in slow motion, super over the top action. He's flying through windows like he's too perfect.
Well, if I recall from this
Jeremy Renner.
story, this is based on true life-ish.
Yeah.
But the Renner character has never been tagged.
Never been tagged before, yeah.
For these guys, like doing it for 20-something
They've been doing
years.
it for 30 years.
30
and they've never
years,
been
wow.
tagged. And the idea was that they have to tag him one more time before, and he's getting married. They have to tag him because he's going to quit the game if they don't get him this one last time.
So
And-
I do appreciate, based on that, they would play it in a Sherlock Holmesian way,
Oh,
where
yeah.
he
Oh,
has
yeah.
like super sensory perception.
super, like
Yeah.
he's like over the top badass kind of character, or whatever.
That's clever. Okay,
And
I get
even
that.
everything they do is absolutely perfect. Like Jeremy Renner's still like, man, you guys suck at tag. So, like beats the shit out of them, throws their dicks at each other, like just has everything perfect. And then he's remembering who's now it because he like grabbed this one guy's arm and flung it around so it slapped the other guy. He's like, this guy's it now, and like pulls his pants down. Fucking, it's wonderful. Honestly, it's a lot of fun.
Huh, all right.
Don't go looking for like a really really good movie. It's just a lot of fucking fun.
Nice.
I
Oh,
also
John
saw
Hamm is awesome.
the Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which that was a Ben
Oh
Stiller
yeah,
movie.
you finally watched that? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I liked it. It
was all right.
It was charming.
Yeah.
You know,
Sean Penn was actually kind of cool in that.
Sean Penn was actually is the only movie I've ever liked Sean Penn. Yeah, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
He's kind of a piece
He
of
has
shit.
he has a long history
The
of
Gunman.
playing,
I
like,
recommend that one actually.
deeply terrible characters, like just
Well,
awful people.
Actual awful people.
Yeah.
But he's also himself just an awful person. Because the
Yeah.
first time, I mean,
He's Sean Penn. Yeah.
It's targeted by the fact that the first time I ever remember Sean Penn was when he beat the shit out of that paparazzo
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
talking bad about Madonna, and it's like, I guess I'll never understand that kind of jealousy. Whoops.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I felt like that character worked really well because he's like a guy who's always disconnected and just like a thing.
Yeah.
But like it was a charming movie. And then
Nice.
something else I saw. But that's all. Really, that's all I had to talk about. What happened to you this week, Adam? That you're interested in talk about? anything we
I got
missed?
to finish up Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
It was dope.
Mhm.
It's a great show. In the first season of 10 episodes, they're all expiring on Hulu now.
Oh yes,
So-
of course.
Get to it, chop chop.
Hurry, hurry.
That was really good. I tried that Insatiable show.
I liked it.
It's
What is this?
I liked it a lot.
it's the one that got shamed to oblivion because it had the
I
wrong
see that.
message for fat people or whatever.
Okay.
On Netflix.
I'm getting farther away from it. So what was it about?
It's
no,
about this fat girl who got made fun of a lot, and then she broke her jaw and got wired shut. She lost a bunch of weight over the summer the next year. She's hot now,
Okay.
and it's about her getting revenge or some shit. It's kind of funny. It's kind of charming in
I think
its
it's
own way.
great.
Yeah.
It actually gets really good.
It's acceptable in the way that like Cobra Kai was.
which I've not seen yet.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that.
Cobra Kai was
Forgot about
just
that.
it's so worth it. Like it's so like 80s mentality. Like the dude's absolute trash, absolute garbage. But it was a really, really well put together show, and it was like the humor in there is like by default unacceptable in a writer's room.
Sure. Yeah.
And I so appreciated
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No,
And-
Insatiable. It got panned. No, not panned. Shamed. I think it's because people saw the first half of the first episode. It's not the same story through the other 10 episodes. It
Okay.
actually evolves greatly. Actually, the main character really isn't even so much the girl as it is like her coach, her pageant coach,
Yeah.
who actually has an amazing story
Okay.
arc.
And
Okay.
honestly, yeah, even you could tell even from the first episode that he's kind of the main character of the whole thing.
And it has a wonderful level of absurdity with heart and just weirdness. And if you're familiar at all with the Kirsten Dunst movie, Drop Dead Gorgeous, a long
Yeah.
time ago, like
Yeah, sure.
1999 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It's a very similar idea of we're making fun of the beauty queen thing.
Right.
But then Insatiable takes it just to a little different place where it does bring up the whole idea of shaming and bullying and well, now you think I'm hot because I was fat yesterday.
Right,
You hate
right,
me.
right.
But also puts in some really cool little weird stuff. Just enough weirdness that I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And actually, and some of the characters actually do have real arcs and go through changes. And unfortunately, everything kind of ends up happy at the end. But that's irrelevant.
Sure.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was
it's
cute.
not. It's not what you'll read about on the internet, I guess, unless you happen
Probably.
to be that type of person.
Yeah. Because they don't usually watch all of it.
No, they just like
I see why people were
they
so
just repost their
poo-pooing
friends.
about the first, because the first episode really is I was fat, now I'm hot, and that's how it starts.
Yeah, presented that way, I can understand that.
Sure.
That tracks a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it
also
actually
mathematically
goes.
correct
It actually
if you-
grows a lot farther than that. It actually has a lot of different concepts of sexuality and
Right.
and everything. It's actually
Right.
kind
It,
of cool.
it runs the gamut.
yeah.
But they didn't ever notice that. They're just like, oh, another one of these. I can't believe we're still doing this patriarchy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fat phobia stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
My friend on Tumblr said this about this. I haven't watched any of it, but I believe it.
It sounds awful.
Yeah, she watched half of an episode.
Yeah.
She was triggered.
To
yeah.
Netflix's credit, I give them full props for actually making a curious, bold choice that actually has some interesting story stuff. That was a weird, quirky, dark comedy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
good stuff. Yeah.
I also watched The Big Sick, the Camille
Oh, yeah.
Mangiani.
Was that? I had it on a watch list for a while, and I've wanted to see it.
Yeah,
but-
definitely worth a watch.
Cool.
Ray Romano was charming in it somehow. But honestly, like, yeah, no, absolutely worth watching. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of great
Good.
comedy.
That's good to hear.
There's a couple of the comedians that are involved. They're really funny and like honestly just a great story. So absolutely worth it.
So no TJ Miller.
Very nice.
Yeah, no TJ Maxx.
Actually, that was my one disappointment for the week of video. Was the Deadpools came out.
You watched the Super Duper Cut?
I did.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when you download the Super Duper Cut from Amazon Prime, as I did, the first 2 hours are the normal cut. So you have to fast forward. Yes.
That's
What?
not
Yes.
how you do
You have to fast
that.
forward 2 hours to get to their first cut to get the Super Duper cut.
Are they like in a race to the bottom with Hulu? Like,
Or like you have to scroll to the bottom of the EULA in order to click on the button like some fucking crazy person?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
But they include both the theatrical and regular, theatrical and Super Duper.
But you have to prove that you watched the theatrical
You
one
have
first?
you have to fast forward 2 hours through to get to the other. Yeah, it was,
Wow,
it
that's
was so
disgusting.
stupid.
that is absolutely
It was so stupid.
Yeah.
as unacceptable.
And
that
having
is unacceptable.
watching the
behavior.
Super Duper cut, I really couldn't tell there was anything duper about it. It was like 15 minutes extra, supposedly, but
Yeah, it's 15 minutes kind of spurred out. There's
but
like,
I couldn't really tell that there was anything extra because
Yeah,
whatever edits they made were seamless enough that they weren't.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely some more jokes. There's definitely more TJ Miller like randomness or whatever.
before he went fucking ape shit.
Some of the jokes are different. Some of the jokes like they had. It's like they had 3 different versions of the jokes for a lot.
There's a couple, different takes for it. Okay.
Yeah, so they used for the first rounds of takes, they took the trailer stuff, and if you notice from the trailers to the theatrical release,
there were
they had
differences
jokes.
there. Yeah.
And then in the third version, they either gave some of the trailer stuff or just completely different stuff. And some of it was funny. Some of it wasn't. In the extended cut, he makes the same "Are you there, Margaret?" or "It's me, Margaret."
Yeah.
Joke that I thought was really great in the first one, but did not need to be reset ever again. Then also includes him trying to figure out how to choke baby Hitler to death. If you got all the way to the end.
Oh
of
yes,
that.
yes,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was good.
That was really fucking funny because he's right there and he's looking at it and he's like puts his hands up like this and he's like, "Oh, God, this is so hard." He's like walking around like, "Okay, it's just a baby. It's just a baby. I mean, it's just Hitler. It's just Hitler." That was really fucking cute. But yeah, it also worth a watch. But
It's still very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
specifically, the one thing I don't remember from the theatrical release was when Colossus says, "We need to get out of here before fuck or not wakes up."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like it didn't fit with the scene, and it was also just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, let's throw
It's
this
like,
in."
it's like they're walking away. Yeah.
We need to get out of here before fuck or not wakes up, and he like laughs at himself, and then weird. It was weird.
Oof.
Yeah, oof. Shirt cocking though.
The shirt cocking. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was good stuff.
yeah.
I still enjoyed it. It's dead.
Infinity War came out too in the last couple of weeks, and I need to watch that one again because
I can't bring myself to buy that
just
one.
do it one more time. I'll get it on the Plex, and you can just watch it for free.
Your Plex doesn't work. So
Well, your Plex doesn't.
Oh,
work.
did you watch Upgrade?
No, I haven't seen Upgrade either. Oh
I haven't
shit!
watched it, but apparently on Banjo's Plex.
Oh shit!
He put it on last
You want to
night.
close this out and watch Upgrade for the rest of the
I
night?
don't know
Yes.
what Upgrade is.
Oh, Upgrade! No, I think I'd share that with you. I'll show the trailer if you're interested in seeing it. It's about a dude. It's like a kind of super future thing. Dude's girlfriend gets murdered. He almost gets murdered. He's paralyzed basically forever. And the super rich guy shows up and is like, "Hey, I can put you back together, and I have the money for it or whatever kind of thing." And he puts this thing called STEM. It's an acronym. It's a computer that lives in his brain, his spine, that gives him superhuman abilities, but also doesn't take over his mindscape in a sense. So like what happens, like there's a scene where he's like, he's looking for justice. He's looking for revenge. And the computer is helping him find all the people who killed his girlfriend. And he finds this one guy and he's like, all right, so we're going to go in. I'm going to do this thing. And STEM the whole time, which I think is like Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Or someone like that. It's like saying, this is a terrible plan. You should not be doing this. He's like, no, I got this. And he goes in and this guy, who's a professional, is like beating the living shit out of him. And he's on the ground and he says like, fuck, I need help. And STEM's like, you need to allow
You must give
me.
me. Yeah, you
must
need to
give me
allow me permission.
And so he gives the thing permission, and it just like pushes itself off the floor like there was nothing in the way, and brutally
Right.
kills this guy. Much to the man's chagrin, he's like watching this guy get
Yeah.
murdered to death, and he can't do anything, and he's just going, "Oh, jeez, oh, fucking Christ!" Oh, like he's like
Yeah.
his mouth is freaking
He's
out,
like,
but the
I
rest of
can't
him
help
is like,
it. I can't help it. Yeah, he's freaking out trying to
The guy
fix it.
grabs
with
a knife, and he's like, "Don't do that, man. You don't understand. Don't do that. You're gonna fucking die." And he's like, "Stim, he has a knife. It's okay. Now we have a knife."
yeah,
And then just like brutal, it's brutal, and it looks like Hardcore
No.
Henry, but with a better plot, and a lot of cool
and
cinematography,
more third person.
and a lot of third. Yeah.
All right.
So let's watch that. Let's watch that. So we have some shots in front of us.
We do.
I would love to randomly say, John McCain did die today.
That's what I was going to. Yeah.
And it's a shame because as much as we disagree with his politics, his person was consistent, and he was a solid man. And I hope, if I can remember this specifically for anyone who's a naysayer, like that video when he was running for president against Obama, he gives the microphone to this older woman, and she starts to talk about how she doesn't trust Obama because he's an Arab. And Senator McCain took the microphone away and said, "No, he's a good man.
Yeah.
He's a good family man. He's an American. I trust him. I just don't agree with him on some things."
Yeah.
And there was no reason for that to happen, specifically given our current climate with our current president.
yeah.
And to that
the last ditch
specifically-
effort.
Yeah.
He truly was
Like he-
a patriot,
yes,
in the
yes,
true sense of the word.
Yeah. And he died of brain cancer today. So long fight.
Yeah. What's your excuse?
And he had a small beef with Jon Stewart, which was wonderful.
Well, they were closed for so long into the Sarah Palin thing.
That's true. It was
Yeah.
when Palin came on board. That's when
Yeah.
Stewart said, "I don't have respect for you anymore."
And Stewart's not really a guy to get over a grudge. But whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're at the end of our show. Adam McWaters, thanks for coming and hanging out with us, of course.
Thanks,
As always. Anyone you want to say goodbye to before we leave?
everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you later.
We're all dying tomorrow. Dylan, thanks for helping me run the show.
Yay!
If you like this show, you want to know more about the show, you can go to contentpending.com, contentpending.com, or contentpending.threadless.com for any updates or maybe merchandise. I'm just going to get that out of the way because no one does it. Except for Zach and Tim, who actually made us our first $7, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Yes.
You can contentpending.com. You can also go to Facebook at contentpending the show on Facebook and contentpending the show on Twitter. You can also go to contentpending.com, DOTCOM on Instagram. Find us all in those places and you see what we update. You can go to iTunes. iTunes is the bread and butter. You can Google Play, Stitcher. There's the TuneIn. There's Spotify. People listen to podcasts on for some reason. But iTunes is the bread and butter. Go to iTunes, and if you like the show, please just give us 5 stars and tell us what you like about the show or what you don't like. If you want to give us 1 star, totally fine. 5 stars is much better because that boosts us, and you can... Basically, our show will have better reach. But if you don't want to do that, then go tell a friend about it, because that also gives us pretty cool reach, and then we can share each other with each other. Especially if you have a friend who disagrees with what we do, you can ask them to listen to a show and listen to this part, 802-359-7468. That's 802-359-SHOT. Or you can call or text your opinions on what we do. Please do that because it's fun for us, because it gives us no reason to bring up our own content. But also, it's fun to actually engage with people listening to the show, since we don't believe there are any. You can also questions at contentpending.com. It's an easy way. Or you can email admin@contentpending.com if you want us to get shut down. Listen to all and any requests. But I'm Travis. I love you so much. Next week, we're going to have the hosts of... wait, when is this going to be? Yeah. The hosts of Gender Fluids, Ariel Norman and Austin Smart are going to be on the show together, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to talk about all of the stuff they talk about, because that is actually a very interesting show and doing very well for itself. And they're both by themselves interesting people, and I'm excited about it. So,
Yeah.
but that's it, and we love you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Content pending.